Good morning. I'm
Well,
out
good morning, Russ.
until I can fix this computer. This is my fault. It's once again my fault that we're late starting the morning after as the Flyers defeat those dreaded Blackhawks on the road.
I think
big
the
win.
coffee.
Sam
the coffee
Ersson
warmer
looked
was
great.
on the coffee warmer's on the fritz, as somebody.
Now the
had
coffee
suggested
here.
in the
Look,
chat.
coffee warmer's right here.
Yeah, that's the problem.
There's no coffee on it. I didn't even make coffee this morning. I got down here in time, and my computer seriously felt like it was running like a '98 Packard Bell. I don't know what the hell's going on. I've tried closing down a bunch of apps. I've closed out a bunch of tabs, and it's not having it. But anyway, good morning and welcome into the show, the morning after, proudly presented by Packhorse Moving Company. As we always say, use promo code SNOW to get $77 off your next move, and we'll talk about them a little bit later. But let's get to the guys that you're here for the hockey analysis from, and that's Anthony SanFilippo on Twitter, at AntSanPhilly. How are you doing there, pal?
Fantastic, Russell. A lot better than you, obviously, this morning. Yeah, it wasn't the greatest hockey game last night, but it was a game that the Flyers needed a W. And it's interesting because this is a game that you heard Torts say after the game in New Jersey, the outdoor game, that this was the one that he was more worried about. And I tended to agree with that because it was, regardless of what happened in that game, in the outdoor game, this was always going to be a letdown game before a big weekend ahead. You had to travel to Chicago to face a bad team, and then you're coming home to play some division games against back-to-back division games this weekend. This was an easy look ahead game, and he was concerned about that. And at times it looked like a look ahead game, but Sam Ersson was a difference in the game, and I think that made all that mattered, really. I mean, they gave up a lot of chances, probably too many chances than they would have, more chances than they would have liked to have given up in a game. But Ersson was solid for them in net, and that makes a difference. You win 3-1, and you come home with a good win.
Let's go to Bundy. Bundy, how are you feeling after that win?
Good. I mean, it wasn't a great game to watch. I mean, it was just one of those games. I said, like, get the 2 points and get out of Dodge, and they did that. It wasn't pretty, but by any stretch of the imagination, it wasn't a great game to watch. Like, it was not like where you're like, wow, this is awesome. But Chicago really, it really is funny watching it, Ant, because I felt like they really only have one player, and he's 18 years old, and it's unbelievable. Like, to see, like, I mean, the only chances they had really were the things that young guy created, Bedard, last night, and he's going to be a great player. He really is.
Yeah.
I've seen him play this year. I didn't watch him really with the focus that you would if we're watching the Flyers, but man, he's going to be a special player. The Flyers, I thought, after the 3-1 lead, and tell me if I'm wrong, was that the Hathaway goal? It was right. The Hathaway made it 3-1.
Yes, Hathaway's goal made it 3-1. Correct.
Yeah. The Flyers went away after that, like the last 5 minutes of the second, and I thought the third period they didn't play really well. But it is what it is. I agree with you, Anthony, in the same thought process. Is just you did what you had to do to get a really important 2 points. Because believe me, it's way worse when you wake up on a day like today if you lose those 2 points to a team like Chicago. Ask the Pittsburgh Penguins, who the Flyers will see this weekend. Last year, they ended their season with a loss to that horrible team that picked first. So, again, I don't have a whole lot to critique. I thought Ersson was very good. What did stand out, Anthony? Did you pick the Flyers 4-1 last night?
Yeah, I did.
Thank you, Scotty Lawton. I was thinking that. I'm thinking to myself, holy fuck. Lawton just missed the empty net from 60 feet. That's going to screw Anthony over. Well,
yes,
too bad, man. You're fucked. You didn't get it.
I did not get the bonus point. Did not get the bonus point last night. By the way, I got to thank David Katzman. He's on with us at 5:30 a.m. out in Vancouver. So thanks for being on that early, man. That's pretty crazy. The thing is about Ersson. I mean, it wasn't like he faced a ton of shots last night, but the ones he faced, Bundy, they were some high percentage chances, and he made some really nice saves in the game. You look at what he's done. The Flyers' goals against average in games that he's won is 1.49. I mean, his goals against average in games that the Flyers won is 1.49. That's pretty darn good.
Excellent.
I mean, he's amongst goalies that have 25 starts this season, and I think there's 33 of them in the league. He ranks 10th in goals against. So really top third of the league in goals against average. His save percentage is a little bit lower, and I think that's because he's had a few games where when he's not good, he tends to be off a lot, or he's given up, or the team has been off and they've given up more goals. So his save percentage is only 900. Still, it's not terrible, but that does rank, I think, tied for 23rd amongst those goalies in that category. So, yeah, I mean, they're going to have to. He's going to carry this team in a sense, and I don't want to put it all on his shoulders, but a lot of this team's success down the stretch is going to be as Sam Ersson goes. If he's playing well in net, they're a good enough team to win those games. And if he's not playing well enough in net, well, then they're going to probably lose those games. And I think that, I mean, it seems like such a simplistic thing to say, and maybe it is, but the reality of it is that when you have a team like what the Flyers are, they're not going to put up a ton of goals every night. So if your goalie is keeping things under 3 goals and under, you're probably winning. And if he's given up 4, you're probably losing.
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at the stats right now, like David Waitman dropped a couple of them in the comments, but like after last night's win with him in net, like 1.49 goals against when they win, which means he's stellar, and like he actively wins you games,
and it's 3.89 when he loses.
But you don't know what you're going to get sometimes, right?
But
like that's the thing where you're left kind of bewildered sometimes, where you're saying, "Well, he played really great. He made some really like cross box saves last night on one timers," and then there's games where the goals go in. And you're like, "Man, that shouldn't have gone in." You know, like the Matthews shot. I know Matthews was good last week; like he was really on, but a couple of those shots got to, at least one of them got to be stopped. And those are the difference in the game. So he was great last night. But again, I look more to consistency, right? Like over the course of time, because they're still at a point where if he gets peppered a little bit, he can be in a situation and he can let in goals, and then it's a real struggle.
Here's a good one from
it is impressive though, because
I'd like to pull this up real quick, Russ.
Okay,
Bros knows, just so we don't forget. Went to the game last night and met JR sitting next to him in the third row in the game last night.
Wow,
that's a good one. That's a good one. Hanging out with JR. That's a good time, right, Bundy?
Oh, just depends what era. It's always a good time. It just depends what decade. Yeah, I've had quite a few good times with JR. I can assure you of that.
Oh, boy.
So I just thought I'd bring that up. I was like, well, how about that? It's a pretty good one.
Like somebody said once, they're like, well, I'll tell you one thing. I don't know if you want to hang out with Charlie Sheen on the reg, but you wouldn't get cheated out of a hell of a good night on the town, though. For one night and one night only.
Yeah, for sure. Well, anyway, so back to the goalie, and Anthony DeMeo brings up a good question here, and he asks, who starts this weekend's games? Does Peterson get one? I can't imagine that he doesn't. I would think that you're going Urs against the Rangers on Saturday, and Peterson will start in Pittsburgh on Sunday. I mean, I got to imagine that's the order that you go in, considering who's what, right, in this scenario. I mean, they got another game on Tuesday after that, right? So I mean, you're playing 3 and 4 nights. There's no way that you're
not riding them for 3 games in a row.
No, I don't think so. I think Sunday's the game off, right? And that's my guess.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting. Like, I think that one of the things that you like come back to when you're looking for like what a young goalie is capable of doing, there were a couple of interesting things. Like Lundqvist last night was talking about Ersson's ability to kind of push off and get from side to side, and that he felt like that was one of the things that when he was playing, when you kind of master that, that's when you're ready to kind of take that next step. And he took that as an indication that like Ersson's on the way. He's like on the way to kind of really finding himself at this level and being a legitimate, reliable netminder. I always look at those home road splits, and you know how crazy I was a few years ago about like Carter Hart's home versus away splits, right?
Yeah.
But like to look at what he has done on the road this season, it's really impressive. It's a 2.33 goals against on the road this year. And like when you talk about, hey, this team probably doesn't have the skill to match a lot of these other teams, the one thing that you hope for when you're on the road is that your goalie's able to keep it close. And when you're allowing 2.33 goals against on average on the road, that to me is saying this goalie is capable of stealing you a game on the road, but if nothing else, is capable of keeping the score low and keeping your team in it. And then flips the script where, all right, now your guys up front do have to be the ones to, get you that win, but you can win a 3-2 game. You can win a close game. It doesn't have to be a shootout every time you're on the road. And that to me is a very good sign, especially if they think they're going to make a playoff push. That's something that you obviously need to see. And I'll also point out here really quickly, his goals against throughout the season, and obviously things have kind of changed over time. October, 5.91 goals against in 2 games. In the month of November, 6 games, 1.70, he was stellar. December, 2.30 in 8 games. In January, 2.72 in 9 games. He's already dropped that this month. Granted, it's 3 fewer games, 6 games, 2.51. He's starting to really find himself. And he's now become somebody I think that the team knows they can rely on. There aren't any question marks anymore about if he can be a number one.
Yeah, I mean, he is reliable. And it's a situation where you can make that push with him. He's going to be a guy that you can count on. But I still say pump the brakes just a little bit on him, because we've never seen him do this over a stretch of 4 months as a regular goaltender, as the everyday goaltender in the NHL. This is still going to be something that is a new test for him going through the rest of this month and into March and into April. And these games are going to be tough. Like, we've gone over this schedule countless times. It's not going to be easy. I mean, really, the next 3 games are not easy games with Rangers, Pittsburgh, and Tampa. So like these games are gonna be a challenge for this team. And look, the team defense has been as big a part of his wins as his goaltending has been. And that's not to take anything away from what he's done in goal, but the way they play in front of him, for the most part, has been really good too. And I think that's kind of sometimes gets lost in the shuffle, right? But at the same time, you got to look at that too, and you got to look at the way the team's playing in front of him. When you have a game like last night, that was good. He only gave up the 1 goal, but he only faced 21 shots, right, or whatever it was, or 23 shots, whatever it was. It wasn't a ton of shots that were coming his way. That's pretty good defense for most of the game. Like Bundy's right, third period games kind of stunk, right? But yeah, I mean, really, you got to look at the way that the team plays. If they're loose and he's facing a lot of shots, from game to game, he might have an opportunity to, to steal one for you, make a big save, and like, oh man, that was a huge stop. But then you have a game like Bundy said, like Toronto, where they were giving up the chances and he didn't make the big stop, right? So that's where the inconsistency, I think, is still there. For a rookie goalie, you can't complain about the way he's playing.
Right.
But the reality still sets in that every once in a while, he's still a rookie goalie, right? And that's going to be part of it. So the team defense, I think, is going to be just as important, if not more important, than the way he plays.
Bundy, I wanted to throw something to you here that was in the comments on YouTube that I think it's something that's going to get conversation. He's not going to win it, but Sean C. asks, why is the Calder race between Bedard and a field of scorers? How's Ersson not getting any mention when it comes to that? I have to think that at some point, if he continues to play as much as they expect him to play, and if he leads them into the playoffs playing at this level, he's got to get some votes, right? Like, he won't win, but he's got to be considered, right?
No. Because
wow.
They'll want to give it to Bedard. I'm not saying that he'll win it. I'm saying, will there be voters who are going to at least? It depends, Russ. I mean, I think I don't know how many votes you get, or if it's like how many of you are allowed, but I'm sure he'll get depth votes. But
so you get 5 votes.
5 votes. Yeah, but top of the ticket, there's no chance. Everybody wants Bedard to win it, and that will probably happen. And was really good. I mean, he's been good. Got hurt for a while there, but and again, but yeah, you're right. It's a valid point, but again, it's just, I think in the world of modern day sexiness of what is and what should be done right, it probably won't happen. But I do agree with you; it should be.
Yeah.
He's certainly been that good, and if he gets him in and he's been that integral to what the team's success, especially second half when it mattered the most, absolutely you can make a case for at least voting for him for sure. No doubt.
I want to get us to something else here in a second, but first, a word here from our fine friends at Packhorse Moving. If you're looking to move or if you know somebody who is, take the stress out of the entire moving process. And as we've been talking about now for a few weeks, Packhorse Moving is the #1 moving company, according to us, in the tri-state area with locations in Norristown, Pennsylvania, Burlington, New Jersey, and Wilmington, Delaware. You go over to their website, packhorsemoving.com/SNOW. You'll see the promo code SNOW. If you give them a call or if you set up the move online, make sure you give them that promo code SNOW to get $77 off your next move. And again, if you know somebody who is moving, it doesn't matter how big or small the move is, let them know about Packhorse and make sure they use that promo code SNOW to get $77 off their next move. And there's one other thing, Ant, and you know what this thing is because we talked about it yesterday.
Go ahead.
La Sicilia, baby! March 16th. Tickets are available at shop.snowthegoalie.com. We've got the big Italian buffet. We have door prizes, and I can tell you now that at least one of the door prizes is going to be something that everybody who's in attendance is going to want to get. 100%. March 16th. Doors open at 5:30. The cost of your ticket includes the Press Road show. We'll be having a blast. We'll be doing our thing. We'll be talking puck. But you get a big Italian buffet as well. We're going to make Anthony gain all the weight back
and we watched
that he
the
lost.
Game. And
we'll
watch
watch the
Flyers
game.
Bruins together, right? I mean, that'd be kind of cool. So
it's going to be great stuff. We're really excited about it.
Who won that Edmonton game last night? Boston
in overtime.
They did, okay. For the first period, that was it for me after, so.
Yeah.
Good start.
Good stuff. Let's make sure everybody gets out there to see us out at La Sicilia.
Yeah, come on out. It'll be a great time. I mean, if you want to get out for the night, watch some hockey. The weather should be turning. Again, you get a little bit warmer in March. It's, getting into like that spring hockey. So, yeah, come on out. Hang out with us. We'll sit there the whole night. We'll do our intermissions. But really what we do is we sit around and watch the game. Yeah, so if you want to go out and shoot the breeze with us, we're there. It'll be a great time.
It is really great stuff.
But back to your conversation about Urs as a potential Calder guy. So the one thing I got to say about this, as a voter, right? Rookie goalies tend to get overlooked a lot. I mean, really a lot. I mean, it's usually you look at it's mostly an award for forwards, although there are some defensemen that are considered when they're having a great rookie season. But I'm not certain that Urs is the best rookie goalie this year. He's certainly started the most games of all rookie goalies, but that Kochetkov in Carolina is having a really nice season as well. I mean, again, better team, right? But he's only started 3 fewer games than Urs. Got a better goals against average, better save percentage. Like, if you're going to start looking at a rookie goalie to consider in the voting, it would be wrong of us as voters to say, well, let's champion Sam Ersson when there's another rookie goalie who's having a slightly better season, even though he's on a better team, a slightly better season statistically than Ersson is. So I just want to throw that out as well as a possibility as to why maybe Ersson doesn't quite fit the bill for what you're looking for.
Interesting points, Anthony. Yeah. And and you know what? I just see somebody up there talking about Jonesy talking about the Russian goaltenders. There must be another pipeline again, where things go cyclical, where there's a lot of good Russian goalies right now. And I think teams are willing to try them out. Certainly with Shesterkin and with New York and other guys. I mean, there's been there are good Russian goaltenders, and clearly the Flyers are excited about what they think they have. So be interesting to see in terms of backups for where they're at right now. Yeah. But there's definitely a trend that way again, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes. For sure.
Hey, guys, just real quick. Do you know the last time a goalie won the Calder?
The only one I could think of was Steve Mason.
Yes, he's the most recent one, 2008.
Yeah. Good pull, Bundy.
There are, let me see. I just want to go back a little bit. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 since 1987. Can you name any of the other ones? Either of you?
Jim Carrey.
Is he right?
It's not one of the ones I was looking at.
All right.
No.
Remember Jim Carrey? I mean, the timing of that name was unbelievable. That guy was good for about 100
Going back to what year you said, 87?
Yeah.
Well, that's got to be Hextall. If you go back to 87.
Hexy didn't win. He didn't win Rookie of the Year. Right?
He didn't. No, he didn't. He was not.
I
can tell you that.
I thought. Well, no, but I thought.
I can tell you that one of the winners played.
Russ's mind because when he went back to 87,
was it?
I was just
Patrick
going back
Waugh?
to where hockey reference cut off at. I can tell you that one of the guys who won it played for the team they faced last night.
Played for
this
the
guy.
Blackhawks.
This guy won it in 1990.
Eddie Belfour?
Yes, Eddie Belfour.
Really?
Yes. In 1993, another team in our general area that's also a member of the Met.
Brodeur?
Yes, Brodeur in 1993. And then, let's see, in 2000, this goalie was from a West Coast team.
2000 out west.
Luongo?
Nope.
No, he was Florida then. I kept getting mixed up. That tells you how long time it is. Western
California team.
Evgeny Nabokov?
Yeah, you're looking at the comments, you bastard.
No.
Yeah.
There's 6 million people in the comments.
It was Nabokov. No, Nabokov.
Oh.
And there's one other goalie since 1987 who's won the Calder. I don't remember this name. Like, I don't remember this guy playing 2003.
If it's a name that came through the list here, we'll give our readers credit. Was it Raycroft?
It was Raycroft.
Andrew Raycroft? Yeah.
Raycroft. Yep.
He won it
as a member of the Bruins.
Boston Bruins.
Wait a minute. Andrew Raycroft won the Calder?
As a Bruin. Yep.
Holy Jesus. That's unbelievable. Oh my gosh. What a year that was.
I know.
But I guess that just kind of comes to a larger point here though. Like what was that? 5 goalies that we came up with, right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 since 1987 and the rest are mostly forwards. There have been some defensemen in there as well, but it's just interesting. Very interesting to see, where that award has started to go and where it's trended to go. We know that, like in the NFL, it's always the MVP at least is always a quarterback, and typically a Rookie of the Year in a lot of cases on the offensive side is a quarterback. It's just interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an exciting runaway thing for Bedard this year. I mean, he did miss time with the chin injury, right? But he's got 39 points. That's nice.
It's over already.
It's nice.
You can send him to Vegas. He'll get the trophy. You can leave him there for the next 4 months to the awards, and he'll still get the trophy.
Well, you know why that is, though.
Yeah, of course I know why it is.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the voting that we do, I'm not certain how many guys take it as serious. I mean, I take it very seriously when it comes to voting, right? I pour through numbers. I call people up and say, "What do you think of this? What do you think of
Connor
that?"
McDavid off the Hart ballot. Yeah,
only 1 year. I voted for him last year, I think guys just look at it and go, "Oh, it's got to be Bedard. He's the number 1 pick. He's the leading scorer amongst rookies. So yeah, just make it him." And there are people out there who will vote. You get 5 votes, right? They'll go Connor Bedard, Marco Rossi, Brock Faber, Dmitry Voronikov, and Adam Fantilli because they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in scoring right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they'll vote.
That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah,
it's not even, folks. I'll tell you now, the Calder Trophy winner is going to be Connor Bedard in a landslide runaway. You heard it here first. And Anthony knows I'm right. He doesn't want to say it. He knows I'm dead right. You know what? I want to hear. I got a quick story for you. So one year I think it was the year 2000 because Craig Ramsey was our coach. So we had to vote for the most improved player on the team. The players voted for it. So I voted for Chief, and I submitted the ballot. And Rammer says, "Bundy, can you come in here and see me for a sec?" So I go in. He's like, Chief's like 37 or whatever. He goes, he's like 37 years old. He goes, why are you voting for him? I go, I thought he had a better year this year than he did last year.
Jeez Louise.
By the way, did you see that tweet that we got from somebody who had like an old hockey game? They sent it, and
I did the retro
you
the
have
retro
that
thing.
with the interview with Bundy.
I can pull it up here really quick. I just hope it doesn't get. I'm just hoping it doesn't get us flagged. Is my only concern.
No.
I did see.
Just go to the clip of Bundy.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
A little snippet of it was an interview. Did you watch this, Bundy, at all?
I've got it.
No.
This will be fun then. I won't.
Right,
this is from a game when Eric Lindros scored 7 points against the Senators.
Oh,
do you remember that game up in Ottawa?
I do.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Garth Snow isn't go whatever. So they were interviewing. They had a quick little 10-second interview with you.
Computer, don't die on me.
In between, I don't know, it was between periods or if it was, whatever. Talking about how you were playing much better, and I just want people to see it because the mullet is by far the best your hair has ever looked.
I'm just trying. My computer legitimately feels
Take
like
us
it's
back
about
to the
melt
90s,
down.
baby. Those mullets were rocking. To come in the morning.
The hair was just so good. I mean, the commentary.
I don't know who
was fine.
I mean, that was a hockey thing, right? The mullet. Like, I don't know. Oh God, I don't even know how. Like, I don't even know how I went to the whoever cut my hair and said, "Hey, make sure you trim down the sides so the mullet stays intact." I mean.
Russ is struggling over here. We're trying to.
No, I think I have it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play the video or not today, but I should be able to show at least the screenshot here because
35,
it's.
I think it was the.
No, I know I have it. I'm just my computer and I are not getting along this morning. Here we go. Ant, are you able to pull that up? I have it. It should show up here as one of the things we can click onto the thing. Are you able to do that?
Yeah, but it's as you see. There we go.
Oh, jeez.
Look at this. Look at that. Look at that salad, man. That's so good.
All right, let me see if I can play it without dying.
Jesus, crunch time. The playoffs are starting up, and I think it's a time when you really have to. We have 20 games left, and it's a time of the year to pick it up and start playing. And I mean, if I have to give myself pep talks and get myself motivated before games, that's what I'm going to do.
Well, his Leclerc is.
Wow. Good old Bundy.
That was a
what a
hometown game, so I got the private hockey night in Canada interview. Le Mullet. There's nothing like Le Mullet.
It was so good. It was so good. Anyway,
You either had the ability to bring the mullet, like have the mullet and entertain people with it, or you just didn't. Some guys tried it, it just didn't work. You got to have the right noggin for it.
Absolutely. I don't know what happened to Russ. Russ just decided.
Sorry, Russ is having a rough day. So Anthony, moving forward to the weekend.
Yeah.
So you're going, and I mean, 2 of those 3 games is Urson for me. I don't want to talk much about goaltending again. Anything of the Rangers that kind of jump out at you right now, and they'll come down to their goaltending as well.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, Bunny, because I think this is going to be an interesting game because the Flyers were pretty much overmatched the last time they played the Rangers, which was if I remember correctly, it was either Black Friday or the
Friday game. Yeah.
I think it was Black Friday, right? But they were really overmatched in that game, and now it's a different team. I feel like the Flyers are a little bit different than they were then, but it's going to be interesting to see how they match up against that New York team, who I think is a really strong team in this conference. They could be a team that goes to the final this year, in my mind. But yeah, I mean that game is more interesting to me than the Pittsburgh game in a lot of ways. I know Pittsburgh is it's the natural rival, but I think that the Rangers game will tell you a lot more about the Flyers than the Penguins game will. Even if they beat the Rangers and lose to Pittsburgh, I think that that's a good sign for the Flyers. If they get smacked around by the Rangers and still beat the Penguins, I'm less confident. You know what I mean? I think that the Rangers game has a little bit more juice to it in my mind.
I'm about ready to call. I'm ready to pull the curtain down on the Penguins.
Yeah,
they're
pretty much
done.
are.
Yeah, they're done. They're not going to say that. Nobody's really going to want to accept that, but they're done. I mean, they're right now looking at they're 24, 21, and 8. Remember I said to make the playoffs, basically to take the standings, you have to be over 500 in like the true standing thing. So if you're like one game over 500, however, even the overtime losses, you tend to make it. They're right now at 24 and 29. Yeah. So they're 5 under that point. I just don't see it happening. Say they're like with Washington, the Islanders. I don't know, man. I mean, I'll tell you what, Anthony, getting out of this gauntlet, the Flyers can survive it with the numbers intact and the other teams behind them with the same intact as well. They could be like, I'm almost ready to call it for the Flyers in reverse and say, like, I think this is a playoff team regardless. The Devils are 7 points back, and the Flyers haven't had like a collapse of monumental proportion all year. I just don't see that happening. Like, I'm looking at teams now where I always said it's a lot harder getting in than being in, and the Flyers are in. And so, like, again, and tonight the Devils and the Rangers play. You hope for the Flyers' sake the Rangers win that game. If I'm the Flyers, I don't worry about the Rangers in first place in the division anymore. If you get them, great. If they fall apart and you get them, great. But that shouldn't be my focus. My focus, if I'm the Flyers and the coach, is to make sure that we do what they have to do to stay in the top 3 in the Metro.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to have a date with Carolina. That's probably what you're. Look at it now. What are we, February 22nd? I'll bet you the Flyers and Carolina are our first round match.
Oh, that's probably the case.
Yeah.
The only team in my mind that can still catch them is the Devils. And the Devils missed an opportunity to get even closer when they lost the game to Washington the other night.
They got killed. They didn't even show up.
That was a bad game for them, right? Pittsburgh is the outlier with that goal differential of plus 11, which doesn't make any sense when they're as far down in the standings as they are. They do have 4 games in hand on the Flyers, so Sunday could be a desperation game for them in a lot of ways, right? If you win that one and you're back within 8 points or whatever, and then all of a sudden you have 4 games in hand, and it changes the mathematics a little bit. But yeah, I don't see it either. I think you're spot on that Pittsburgh is done. I think they're going to trade Gensel at the deadline, just because they have to, and then you go forward. So yeah, to me, the Devils are the only team who can catch the Flyers, and they missed an opportunity to get some points the other night in Washington to kind of keep it within striking distance. I mean, they still are, in a sense. They're 7 points back with 2 games in hand. So if you win those 2 games, you're within 3, right? And so then, it's a race. So I don't count it out yet, especially with that Flyers schedule after the post-trade deadline where they have to play so many good teams in a row. That's where it could snowball a little bit. But the Devils did themselves no favors losing the game in Washington the other night.
I don't. That's an awful loss. Like in a must-win game, good. The teams that want to get in beat the teams that are just not in.
Right.
I don't know what the connect the apology form is, but anyway.
I think it's probably that, like you've said a couple of times this year, that like you appreciate what he brings to the table and everything, but that you don't think he's a top line winger on a cup-winning team. That might be what that is.
Depends who's around him, but I don't.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Let me put things in perspective for you, okay? Austin Matthews has 51 goals, okay? 51 goals. Pasternak has how many goals? Like a ton of them. TK has 27 goals. He's had a great year. But there's a difference between 27 goals and 47 and 51 goals.
Yeah.
That's mega star power. That's mega shining star power. Yeah. TK is a really good hockey player, but he's not those guys. So let's just stop. Like, seriously. All right. I love TK. He's been unbelievable for this fucking team. And he's worked hard. He's improved. He's everything you want to see in development for a player.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to apologize because he's not fucking Leon Draisaitl. Sorry.
Yeah, he's 19th in the league in goals. And he's tied for 30th in the league in points. Again, good numbers. right? Really good stuff. It's still probably a second line guy on a Stanley Cup caliber team. That's all
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's great.
There will be if they pay him $11 million a year. But in the meantime,
going around the league, guys, something interesting, and it wasn't like it was a shocker, and it's not a big thing, but it is something in the Metro. John Davidson, who's been the president of Columbus for I don't know how long, decides he's going to fire his GM Jarmo Kekalainen. Anthony, any idea about that? Like, was it just? I mean, why would he have kept him there that long?
It's about time.
You know, I mean, again, it looks like John Davidson. I don't know what was going on there, but why would you wait till now to can a guy? I mean, Davidson watched him sign Gaudreau to all that money and put them in cap hell. But hey, let's just fire the GM.
I think it got to the point where it was like, see how this season goes. I mean, all right, last season you knew you weren't going to have a great year, but you're going to bounce back this year. Second year with Gaudreau and those guys, and you picked up a top kid in Fantilli, and you thought this was going to be like a really nice year, and then they bottom out, right? And it's like, okay, we can't let this guy go into a trade deadline again. Like he's killed us with his deals. And so that was it. I think it was probably, several months coming, and that's just happened to be the time when it happened. But it was only a matter of time. But
the only other thing I wanted to touch on here really quick, I don't know if you guys have seen this as much. I guess I live on Twitter probably more than you guys do.
Yeah, you do.
But I've just seen so many people getting themselves worked into a fucking tizzy about moves that have not happened. Like, I get the idea that as fans, it's fun to talk about trades. I love talking about trades. I think it's a lot of fun. However,
no kidding.
As I said on Twitter, you have a bunch of grifters, like a bunch of people who try to sell themselves as being more in the know than they are, or they try to make it seem like they have an idea. And I'm not talking about what's his DeMarco. Not talking about him. I want to be very clear. He's got his stuff. Like he's been breaking some things. So not him. There are these other people, though, who are local, who aren't beat writers, or they're not people who are really around the team, who just kind of like to poke and prod, and they like to kind of get people fired up over shit that might not happen. For example, there are a lot of people getting very worked up about the idea of re-signing Sean Walker. Now, as we've discussed on this show, Flyers have been interested in potentially re-signing Sean Walker. But we did talk about the fact that Rasmus Ristolainen's injury may have changed some of the calculus on what they were planning on doing, and that it could be hard for them to rationalize paying both Sean Walker a $4+ million a year deal and having Rasmus Ristolainen here. There have been people who have been interested in Risto, but if Risto's injury proves to be more serious or whatever, and he's not eligible to be traded at the deadline, it might change what they do with Walker. But you have a bunch of these people who the Flyers re-signed Sean Walker. It's just more of the same from this. Everybody's, all the former Flyers, the same old Flyers. The new era of Orange is the same as the old one. You don't fucking know. You have no idea what they're going to do. They haven't made the signing. They haven't moved heaven and earth and offered Sean Walker 6 years at $5.5 million with a no movement clause. What are we getting upset about? But I see it, and I see these people, and the big problem, man, is the same ones who are already shitting on the idea of re-signing Sean Walker are the same assholes who, if they trade him, are going to be disappointed. Oh, I've been seeing Sean Walker could get them a first-round pick. Why did he only get them a second and a prospect? Whatever it ends up being. These people are grifters. They have built followings on Twitter as grifters. And at some point, I just want people to realize these people are full of shit, and they need to stop. They need to touch some grass. It is insane. So listen, if you're a fan and you're out there and you're in good faith talking about trades and potential targets and about what you'd be willing to see the Flyers pay, totally fine. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the fucking grifters, and they need to stop. That's it.
Anyone else wish Russ didn't restart his computer? It's just me.
He's all wild now and everything.
Hurtful.
Like a little wild man right now.
Why did Ryan Ingrid call me Alex Jones? Was it the gravel in the voice there for a second? All right.
Anyway,
I think it's goofy. I think it's overdone. I think that we're fine. We'll see how this goes. And listen, if this team does put together a $5 million a year deal for Sean Walker, I will be the first to say, what the fuck are we doing here? But until that day happens, right, it's not worth getting upset about. Let's see how things unfold. Let's see how things go. It'll be fine. We're, 2 weeks away from the deadline, right? So, and have you heard anything while we're talking about like grifters? Let's like pull.
Nothing new.
Let's get the ultimate grifter, Anthony. No. Let's get from your side of things. Have you heard anything?
I got nothing new for you. I got nothing new from what we've already been discussing. Okay. I mean, I don't know how many more times I have to tell everyone that this comes down to the deadline with a couple of these guys. I mean, when I say down to the deadline, doesn't necessarily mean if it happens the night before or a couple nights before that I was wrong, right? I mean, but the reality of it is it comes down to close to the deadline for a lot of these deals, a lot of what the Flyers are looking at and considering. And, we're in that mode now where we're getting close to it, right? And everybody's going to talk about it, and that's fine, and it's worth having conversation about. But until you get a sense that, all right, something's going to happen, it's not going to happen. And just hang tight. Just don't overreact. Don't overreact to reports of stuff. I mean, even if I put something out, don't overreact to it. The reality of it is that a lot of times these conversations happen and things don't come to fruition, right? And you're only going to be told something that's from certain people that's real, and even if it doesn't come to fruition, that's okay, but at least you know that conversation took place.
Russ, before I forget this, I wanted to I think you and me should congratulate Anthony for providing content on Flyers Twitter for the Gritty Earmuff Night. That is all you, Anthony. Without you, there's no Gritty Earmuff Night and the torch presser. That, like, if you don't think that there's impact, we got promos being made after us now.
I mean, in fairness, we started with my voice of going the Danny Briera, and now we have an entire campaign based around Anthony. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
A silly podcast.
So we have that, and now there's that. So Bundy, I just need to know, like, what's the thing that's going to be built around you? There has to be something.
I have no idea. You know what, Russ? It will rear its head. It will rear its head exactly how it's supposed to.
All right.
I want to congratulate Anthony. You drew a lot of attention, pal, and you know what? You created a promo for the Flyers, and
that's nice.
That's invaluable.
Bundy, ask me what my idea for you is for your promo.
Go ahead, Russ. Tell me, buddy. What's your idea for my promo?
Not answering your questions.
So just slip one in there. Just slip it in there real quick. All right. Anything else you guys wanted to get to today?
No, I was told by you we weren't going to have a 45-minute episode.
I wanted to do a 15-minute episode, but here we are, 43 in. I guess we won't do a show tomorrow. So this is our show. And then on Saturday, we'll be doing the Press Row show. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you have not found us yet at a game, but you listen to this show or you watch this show, you go out of your way to make time for 3 jamokes, however many times a week, please come find us. We're up in the balcony by the organ. You take the elevator by section 121 through the glass doors. Tell them you're going up to the sports book, and as you come out of the elevators, you'll see the organ, you'll see us. Come chat. We'll give you stickers. We'll talk. Come talk some puck with Bundy. Tell Ant that his fingerprints are all over that pee bottle that he drinks from every game.
Anthony makes balloon animals. It's great. Come on up and see
it. Oh, Ant, hold that up again.
Come on,
you got to go see the doctor. That doesn't look good.
Wild strawberry, guys.
Were you just making? Hold on, Bunny. Were you just making balloon animal sounds like the balloon?
I was doing Dumb and Dumber, Russ. I know that movie was before 2000, so you probably never seen it.
I've seen Dumb and Dumber.
The cop goes, "What's in the bottle, buddy?" "Oh, it's nothing, sir." The guy tastes it. He's like,
"What a mess! What an absolute mess."
We got to make you laugh here. Like, you can't just leave here with a fucking serious tone and, oh man, and then go to work. You have to laugh. Like that's why we're on. Part of of our shtick, at least mine, is I like laughing at my own dumb shit. And I hope people enjoy laughing along with me.
Like this?
I did want to. I do have a last shout out. Sunday, I went down to Baltimore and I went down to see my daughter's game. And
what a great,
there's a bad ending too. Alexa, Loyola plays in the Patriot League, Division I basketball, 10 schools, and she had 44 points in a Division I college basketball game and a big win over Lehigh University. We didn't follow it up last night with a good game at Navy, but still, as I say it, I have to say this to my Alexa. I have two daughters that start on the same team, Ava and Alexa, and they both play amazingly well. I'm super proud of both of them. But Alexa is the only other kid, along with Caitlin Clark, for women to have scored in the 40s this year in Division I basketball. So pretty cool. Very proud of her. And she ended up setting a school record as well with those points. So awesome. Very proud dad moment. And I know that, I share that with you guys as well when they play. If sometimes the computer's on, if they run parallel with the Flyers games. But it was a great thing to see. Because it's something I'll probably never get to see again. And when it's your own kid, it's left me more floored than just about anything else I've seen in sports. Very cool moment.
And I'll say this, Bundy, as an alum of American University, which is in the Patriot League, I've watched more Patriot League women's basketball with you than I did when I went to American University.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah, it's probably true. Yeah, when people say, "What's it like the mid majors to the difference to like the Power Five?" The only difference is the height of the girls at the 5 spot. They're just taller. Like they're 6'5", 6'6". So, and the other schools too. That's a great league. There's a lot of good basketball players, but I'm proud of my girls. They compete hard, and that's what I want. I don't want all the skill. I just want them to play hard and have fun, and they do that. So, thanks for letting me share, everybody. Appreciate that.
Bundy, you've got the genetics are just unreal,
My
right?
mom has unbelievable genetics too. People say it. You know what? She doesn't get enough credit. The mom of my kids for actually being the kind of person she is. Diana, she's every bit as important to their genetics as me. She's tall. She played basketball too. So you know what? It was. They're good athletes, but what I'm most proud of is how they compete, and they're honest players. They're not dirty, and that's what you want. But they compete hard, and they don't give you a second chance.
So you have the two that are playing for the same team right now. Your son,
they both start. Yep.
The intent is to play D1 football, correct, in college.
Yep.
Tracking that way.
And he has offers already. Yep.
And your oldest, did she play anything at the collegiate level?
She was the one the pioneer of all of them. She was the first one to go to Loyola. She was also Patriot League Rookie of the Year. She had injuries. Isabella was unbelievable. She's a South Jersey Hall of Famer for the SGIBT. They're all great players. They're all different. But, and she lives in Indianapolis, and her boyfriend plays for the Colts. Will Fries is an offensive lineman that went to Penn State. So they've been together for almost 4 years, and so we got sports all around us. It's sports all over.
If they tie the knot, they have some kids. That kid's gonna be 6'9", right? There's almost no doubt.
Will's 6'7", 315, and I was I'm mad at me. He's a monster, right? I told Izzy, I'm like, Isabel, I said, hey, I just got news for you. If you ever have problems with him, you're on your own.
That's funny.
He's an awesome guy. But anyway, yeah, you know what, guys? It's great to see your kids succeed, and of course they were raised in a sports family. My youngest ones or my oldest ones got to see me play hockey, and so it's great. They all diehard Philadelphia sports fans, and it's very, very cool. So thank you.
Very cool. Good stuff. All right, guys. I think it's probably a good place to wrap up, and then we'll, like we said before, we'll be down there for the Press Row show this weekend. So, make sure you come find us. It's gonna be a lot of fun. That game is what time? And that's a 3 o'clock game on Saturday, as they take on the Rangers. If you haven't bought tickets yet, buy tickets. Let's make sure that there are more Flyers fans than Rangers fans in attendance for this one. And like we said, come find us up in the balcony level above section 121. Again, it's through the glass doors. It looks like you're going to a VIP elevator. Tell them you're going up to the sports book. come find us, shake hands, talk puck, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So looking forward to that. And then they're back in action again on Sunday, so we'll probably do a morning after, I'm guessing Monday morning, to recap the Penguins game. So a lot of hockey talk, a lot of Snow the Goalie talk. A big thank you. And by the way, if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. That helps us out a lot. Subscribe, ring the bell so you are always notified when we go live with a show. We're going to be dropping the alumni game interviews over the weekend on the YouTube channel with all the guys that we talked to on alumni night. So those are going to be hitting the YouTube account as well. And if you like to listen on the podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you go subscribe there. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We do have some that we need to read that we didn't read a week or so ago, so we'll make sure that we read those on the next episode. So make sure you go do that. So for Ant on Twitter, at AntSanPhilly, for Bundy, at Therien6, I'm Russ, at Joy on Broad. Thank you so much for listening to, maybe even watching, Snow the Goalie the morning after. Hey, Flyers take down the Blackhawks. That's a pretty good way to start the weekend. So we'll talk to you all very, very soon.